little bit, my sister's coming over and we're gonna have a conversation. And it's some stuff that's hard to talk about. What's cool is I don't feel super nervous about it and fearful. But in the past, when there's been hard conversations to be had with people, I'd either avoid them or I'd be really afraid and nervous to talk about it. And I think that stemmed from feeling like I was just gonna fail. I was gonna not get the words out, or I was gonna say the wrong words. And I don't have that belief about myself anymore. I think I actually believe in myself more now than I ever used to. That the words are just there. And it'll totally be okay. It went really well with my sister. We had a good conversation, being honest with each other, talking through family stuff and things that we've been going through, things she's been going through. So that was really cool. And yeah, I felt really good about it.
I think it is so cool seeing how you've changed, which like I had to deal with how you were before a meeting like that.
Yeah.
Where you'd be like a giant stress ball, and then afterwards...
And I would hide behind you, or I'd want you to do it for me.
Yeah, and I felt all this pressure to like say stuff.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I feel like you'd be like a wreck based upon the person's reaction, but now I feel like you're just a lot more like, I don't know, you're like confident. Stable. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, warp. Kitchen cooking with memory section of our vlog. Someone said in the comments that when you cook and give that face, they're like, oh, this one's gonna be snarky or something like that.
What?
And I'm like, oh, you don't even know. All right, what are you working on here?
I'm making these type of candies, or these fruit peel candies that Hominy makes sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like you boil the fruit peels to get a lot of the bitterness out of them, and then you sprinkle them with sugar, and then they like dry, and then they're like little candies.
Okay, so you got them off lemons and stuff?
Yeah, these lemons were kind of bad, so. But
cool.
I did orange peels, and you can do a grapefruit and stuff like that. You boil it a few times to get most of the bitterness out.
I'd like some grapefruit ones. We took our turkey out of the freezer. And this is like a lot bigger than we thought. We got it from one of these like Amish farmer guys. So you just kind of like check some box and mail something and it shows up and you hope.
We could have chosen a smaller one, but I remember having a conversation with you saying, Ben, should we do the smaller one, the medium, or the large? And Ben, usually his response is go large. Big or go large. Home.
Yeah, but it says 20 to 26 pounds or something.
That's probably what that is. I was able to hold it with one arm.
I know, but it's huge. All I'm saying is it's huge.
Oh, you didn't know how the girth of it, what a 25 pound. Yeah, I didn't either.
I mean, I like big, believe me. But now we have to figure out if this thing's gonna even fit on our grill. Oh, it doesn't fit. I don't know what we're gonna do.
Oh, this is really solid frozen. Okay, so what am I?
Okay, my mom is saying that maybe we should use the oven, but this is like tradition. We always do it over the grill. I think if we put it, I think if we put tin foil on top, and then if we put this.
But her legs are standing in the air.
Look, it'll settle down though.
In the oven, I was going to do the same seasoning and...
No. We are not doing it in the oven. This is tradition. We gotta figure it out. Like, you know, I'm like... Okay, it is time for our weekly goals meeting, which for those of you guys who are new here, this is once a week where I take the kids out because they're the ones that work on the vlog with daily projects, and we reassess those things. And we like to go out because it's kind of a treat for them because they go above and beyond and spend a lot of time. Seven edits the episodes specifically, and Dove does all the thumbnails and titling and uploading. But today, we have a very special guest. Da, 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 da. Look who's joining us for the first time ever for this goals meeting.
Maybe the last time. No, I'm just gonna stay.
We'll see how you do. Because you're giving yourself some goals.
Yeah, I am. I'm growing up.
It's good to have you.
Say I did not post links. I think it was a really good idea for me to come on this goals meeting. Because the food's really good. It's a lot better than it would have been at home. I figured out my goals. This is kind of a tough crowd. And this is cool because they helped me figure these out. And then I realized I had some holes that needed to be filled in. So these are my 2 goals. To have 1 song uploaded by next Thursday of me playing it and singing it. And then also 10 minutes of practice of that song every weekday. And I realized that uploading it takes a lot of other stuff. Like you have to know how to do that. It's not like just an easy thing to do. So I asked Dove to help me, and she graciously said she would. And she's gonna kind of teach me how to do this, and then maybe one day I'll be able to do it myself. As a part of my musicals, I'm going to be working today on my song, and I'm going to be filming myself playing and singing it, and then I'm supposed to look at that video and kind of critique it, which I'm not looking forward to because it's always kind of cringy. I mean, you'd think I'd be like used to it by now, being a vlogger, but it's kind of cringy for me to look back on videos of me singing and playing. I think I'm overly critical of myself. It's time for Q&A.
She'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
We are gonna try and not do the timer, but also not take forever, because we have our date to go on. Faith Learcy asks, you guys have done all sorts of adventurous stuff, individually and together, that has fed your relationship, tight pants, Brazilian waxes, sex shops. I'm on the edge of my seat, what's next? We're going to see a movie tonight. And we might make another baby any day now. And we're doing the Appalachian Trail. Is this not enough for you? What else can we do to entertain you? Actually, there is this one thing. We got probably the biggest adventure of our life coming up, but we're not gonna tell you yet. I'm not just trying to be like cheesy or clickbaity or vloggy stupid, but actually we're just not ready to share about it yet. But it's big.
Lindsay 16 says, do you expect your children to have jobs after finishing school, to move out on their own and be able to support themselves? I don't think we expect our kids to move out, like just to move out at some age. But I do think we want them to be like contributing somehow if they're gonna be living with us. So if that's contributing to the house that we live in or household or getting a job, probably at some point I think it would make sense for them to have a job outside of us.
Yeah, these are cool things I think, but this is not how we're gauging success. for our children or even ourselves.
The real Allison Hart asks, do you guys have any traditions? And if so, what are they? When I think of traditions for our family, I think we base our traditions off of a weekly schedule more than like a yearly type thing. That's like more important to us, is the things that happen every week.
And I think we're better at those things. We've like
Maybe, yeah.
Annual traditions, like every year we kind of do something that's the same on Christmas, and then we kind of do something a little different too. And
We've had like annual parties. Like we're doing a Christmas party this year, which we've done pretty much for the last 5+ years.
those are probably some of the biggest traditions we have, I guess.
Yeah, we do parties well. We don't do like coloring eggs well, or Santa Claus well, or getting a Christmas tree well.
Erica Gore asks, how do you choose the names of your children? Great question. But the problem is, like, new people come to our vlog all the time, and we're really glad you're here. But the old people, that's the first thing they always ask. And we dedicated a whole vlog to this. So you know what? There's actually no easy solution to this to make the new people feel welcome, but
We could choose
have the old
one
people.
name.
So what I'm gonna do is, Dove, could you please put the link to that video permanently in the description of the YouTube videos, and we will never answer it again.
Sonia B Photography asks, I have 2 boys. They're 5 years apart, but are also polar opposites. I feel like they're constantly fighting with each other. Do your kids ever fight? And how do you handle these sibling squabbles?
No. So we don't have to deal with that kind of stuff because they don't really fight.
Sorry. Oh my gosh. Our kids fight all the time.
With 6 kids, 5 that are currently of fighting age.
Meaning, when they get
Actually,
older, the fights get nastier.
The 6th is getting to fighting age. Rainier is.
Rainier is, yeah.
I would say we have probably about 40 to 60 fights a day, easy.
I feel like who fights, sorry I'm calling my kids out here, but who fights the most is our 13-year-old boy and our 6-year-old girl. I think it has something to do with their personalities, but they're just like, I mean, even though he's that much older, she's got a mouth on her.
How do you handle these sibling squabbles?
Well, sometimes I ignore them.
I know one thing that I'm a lot more likely to do now is actually just let it play out. You know, a lot of our kids, they're not like weaklings. So if the 13-year-old is pounding on the 11-year-old, the 11-year-old will fight back like hard. And I'm like,
And
you know,
they kind of like ask for it from each
like,
other.
Yeah, you want to be punched in the face, like you'll get punched in the face, like, and then you'll learn your lesson. Hopefully, that's our goal. But by constantly stepping in, we've learned that like
we get exhausted for one,
and they don't like even like really learn the lesson because they're like, well, I really wanted to punch him in the face.
There are like some exceptions to this, like.
Well, like she's saying that there's a 5-year gap between your kids. So if your younger kid can't even like defend themselves or is getting like essentially like bullied or picked on.
This could be because of the age gap or personality, by the way. I mean, even a younger kid can pick on an older kid if there's a personality difference.
Then I would say it's very important to champion the cause of the younger, more powerless one.
More passive one, reserved one.
But I guess my advice for sibling fighting that has helped us is you have to dispel the situation, but that's only step 1, and I think that's actually the least important step. The most important step for us, which is step 2, is to really try and get at the heart of each of the kids separately to figure out what is motivating them. So if this one kid is always pounding this kid, you could just say like, stop! Okay, and then they might stop for 10 seconds or 10 minutes. But really the goal would be to go to that child and say, why are you picking on Steve or Bobby or Susie? And I also assume that they don't know why. That little kids, you know, they're like, they hit them because they want to. But usually the reasons are very deep. You know, I was always picking on my brother when I was younger. And my parents were always yelling at me for it and telling me to stop. And I think I wanted to stop, but I also like didn't know how and couldn't. And I think it was because I was believing that I wasn't as loved, or that if my brother got attention, it was taken away from mine. So, you know, sometimes we go to those children and say, hey, we love you, you're just as special, which actually seems unintuitive when they're pounding another kid.
Right, because you just want to kind of villainize the more powerful one and say like, how dare you do this? When there, like you said, there might be a deeper issue going on.
We also at times try and instill a higher order. So instead of just saying like, stop, like, especially for an older kid with like a baby, to say, hey, we want to give you a job. Oh, hello.
Baby.
You have a baby? You want to come up here?
You come say hi?
Look.
Hi.
So instead of just saying stop, like saying, hey, we really need your help in looking out for and protecting the younger one. Can you help us do that? And then it gives some sort of like purpose to the child instead of just a list of restrictions. This is my favorite question, by the way, on this Q&A.
Me Pound 33 asks, what did you think of Nashville? What did you like, did not like? Oh, be nice to the baby.
I like the Johnny Cash Museum.
It was cool to get a feel for the city. There's a lot of history there with music.
We didn't get a chance to see a ton of the city.
Yeah.
We were kind of like in and out. So I don't have a fair, I don't feel like I can give a fair review of it.
Yeah.
But it felt a little touristy for me, and that's something I don't really like.
At least the part we were in.
Yeah. And finally, this last question, which has been asked a number of weeks and it's got the most replies, is by Ad Namba, who says, who decided the art on the stairs, the dripping red paint in the foyer, and the torn drywall in the living room? Okay, so I'm gonna take you guys on a little tour. This is the paint in our staircase. It starts on the first floor here, and it goes all the way up this flight of stairs, and this flight of stairs is actually really kind of a beautiful central piece of this house. And you start to see these colors change, and there starts to be tree trunks here, and more leaves. And I'm gonna turn the light on here. The lighting's not very good right now, but when you get up here, it really gets super crazy beautiful, like fall colors. And if that door was open and it was light, we have this like sunlight that comes through, and it gets really amazing. And you have these like brick features in here, and there's these like birds here. There's like a hummingbird in a nest right there, squirrels and owls. But this is the third floor. It's pretty amazing. This is the view like down all the flights of stairs. It's like crazy high. My brother came from Seattle and painted this, and he's really a pretty amazing artist. And I think it was all his idea, the concept of the trees. Or maybe I said trees, but I didn't have any conceptual idea for how it could actually look. We just saw like all this real estate, this wall space, and it was like, seemed like the perfect place for an amazing piece of art. But I don't consider myself much of an artist in that way. So I really needed help, and now I love it. It's like this beautiful thing in our house. The second question is this brick in here. So when we put this wood stove in, I was told that I need to like remove any of the stuff that's not like completely fireproof here. So I just started like tearing out the wall here just so the brick was exposed. Then I was like, oh, that actually looks really cool, and I like the idea of telling a story with architecture. So behind all this is actually brick. So I just started like tearing it out, and you can see I like tore this entire strip like all the way around, and it goes like all the way there. And we just kind of like left it there. So this house is 3 layers of brick, and I actually tore this little hole there also. Finally, I think the last question was this red wall here. Okay, it's like on this entire thing, and if you were to remove these coat racks, you would see it just like drips down. It's just some giant mess. That's actually a smoke alarm with a plastic bag covering it. So this story is actually kind of weird and pretty personal. I don't really like sharing about it. I don't know if you guys feel like you hear from God, but sometimes I do. And I'm never like sure, it's not an audible voice, but I get this like feeling inside and I'm like, oh, I should do this thing. Well, anyways, this was one of those moments. We had just bought this house and it was like a flipped house. So it was like brand new everything, brand new paint, refinished floors. And when we first moved in, everything was like spotless. And I kind of like want to keep things that way so that like when we resell the house or rent it out or all these things, like it's always gonna be easier and cheaper and more efficient. And I felt like I just got this picture like pour red paint on this wall. And it was like really weird. It felt like it was kind of ruining the house, especially because this is like right next to the door. When people come in, it's like the first thing they're gonna see. It's kind of gross. You know, some people could read into it and be like, oh, is that the blood of Jesus? Like, no, I didn't have any. So I did it. I mean, I talked to Cammie and I was like, Cammie, I think I should do this. I don't know why. It doesn't like make sense to me. And I did it, and it's kind of weird if some people comment on it, but one thing that I know that it did for us is it like personalized the house. And it said like, okay, if you can just like trash the front wall, like the rest of it, like it's yours. Like do with it whatever you want, what's gonna make it most honoring to God or best for your family or work best for you, whatever you like even. And that was like a huge milestone for us just to get past that step. But I didn't even know that was doing that at the time, honestly. It just felt like, just do it. There it is. We are heading out for our date now, Cammie and I. And I think tonight we'll actually take you guys with us. Our movie starts in 10 minutes, and we're gonna see Man Who Invented Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited. But first we gotta eat this little salad thing because the line for the pizza place was like too long. So now we're just sitting in this like crappy mall thing. We just finished the movie. That movie was like really good.
It was a good movie.
I really liked it. I really like the Christmas Carol story, and tomorrow we get to watch the Muppet Christmas Carol after Thanksgiving. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. That's a tradition of our family.
Ready to go home?
Yes.
See you tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving. Cammie already left.